Hello class 10, this is Ashok here with a new video for you. In this video, I will discuss the third poem of the book, First Flight, A Tiger in the Zoo. It is written by George Leslie Norris. So let us start the discussion with about the poet. George Leslie Norris was born in 1921 and was died in 2006. He was a great prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writers of the post-war. Post-war means after war period, and his literary works have won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Lord Winder, Phoenix, Living Poets series, Ransom, etc. Now see the introduction of the poem. The poem, written by Leslie Norris, A Tiger in the Zoo, explains the agony means pain, and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. So let's see the poem stanza wise, and we will discuss stanza wise everything about it. A tiger in the zoo, stanza 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his gaze on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet race. So there are difficult words for you in this stanza are stalks means follows, vivid bright colored, pads means paws of tiger, rays mean anger. Now we will see what was there in this stanza. So I will explain you what poet has said in this stanza. Here, the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. So this is told to us by the poet in this stanza about a tiger in the zoo. Now see the literary devices in this stanza. A rhyme scheme. A rhyme scheme means rhyming words of lines. So third and first line, they are not matching, so they are given A and C, V and V. Second line and fourth line, they are rhymed like K's and R's. So the rhyming scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Then personification is here also. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he. So tiger is considered as a human being here. He is trying to personify. Metaphor. Tiger's paws are compared with velvet pads of velvet. So here comparison is made, and as or like words are not used, so it is metaphor. Otherwise, if as or like word would have been used, it becomes simile. Then enjambment is there. Sentence is continuing to next line without any punctuation mark. So second line you can see in the stanza again to see this enjambment. Now let's see the next stanza. Sorry, imagery is there. Poet tries to create an image about the tiger. He starts in his vivid steps, the few steps of his case. So here, an image comes in our mind when we read this line. He starts in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his case. So imagery is there also. Then consonance is there, use of S sound in one line, like in the words stalks, his stripes. So S sound is repeated in these words. Then as assonance, use of vowel sound is also prominent in the line. In his vivid stripes, I sound is repeated here, so assonance is also there. Then oxymoron, use of adjectives opposite in meaning. Quiet raise. Raise means anger, and quiet means to keep quiet, or calm, you can say. So these are opposite of each other, but they are written together. So it is called oxymoron. So now let's see the next stanza. A tiger in the Jew, stanza 2. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. So, difficult word meaning is lurking. Lurking means to be hidden as to wait for your prey. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump. Plump means very, you can say, healthy. In this stanza, poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, what the tiger in the cage cannot do so. So here poet has told us that if tiger would have been there in jungle or forest, he could live life in another way. So now see the literary devices. Rhyme scheme, once again it is AV and CV, grass and pass. Second and fourth lines are rhyming with each other. Enjambment is there. Line continues to next line without punctuation marks. Sliding through deer pass. So there is enjambment. Alliteration is also used in this stanza. Use of sound P at the start of two words, plump and pass. Then imagery is also there. The poet has tries to create an image of tiger's activities lurking in shadow. So here imagery is also depicted by the poet. Then third stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, wearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So here are difficult words you can see here. Snarling means warning sounds made by animals. Wearing means uncovered. Fangs mean sharp teeth of animals. Now we will explain this stanza number 3. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, wearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp teeth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. So, this is told to us by the poet in this stanza. The activities of the tiger if he should have been free. Literary devices, rhyming scheme AVCV. Again, rhyming scheme is same. second and fourth lines are rhyming. First and third are not rhyming, so it is A, B, C, D. Enjambment is also there. Line continues to next line without punctuation marks. He should be snarling around houses, and the second line is started at the jungle's edge. Onomatopoeia is there. This is new for you. Using words which denote sound, snarling, and these words are matching their sound also, snarling. There are other words which are the examples of onomatopoeia, like hiss sound made by snake. This is also onomatopoeia. Then assonance is there, use of vowel sound, O and I. Should around houses, O sound is there, repeated in these words, and I sound is repeated in wearing his white, and his, these words, I sound is there. So assonance is there. Then consonance is also there, use of consonant sound, S in his, fangs, his claws. So consonance is also there. Now let's see the fourth stanza. What he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind was, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. So one word is difficult for you, concrete. Building made of bricks, cement, sand, and water. Now let's see what poet says in this stanza. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell, which is made of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. So, this was there in this stanza. Now, let's discuss the literary devices. Rhyme scheme, again, second and fourth lines are rhyming. First and the third line are not rhyming, so the rhyming scheme is AVCB. Personification is there. The tiger is personified here because the poet refers him as he. Assonance is also used here. Assonance means use of vowel sound, and here E sound is repeated in the line. He locked concrete cell. E is there in all these words. So assonance is there. Then consonance. Consonance means use of consonant sound in adjacent words like his, strength, was. In all these words, S sound is prominent. So consonance is there. Then alliteration. Alliteration, use of sound V at the start of two words, behind words. So alliteration is there. Alliteration is the use of consonant sound in conjunctive words like behind wars. V sound is here, so alliteration is there. Tiger in the Zoo, and this is the last stanza of this poem. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Patrolling means to guard or to vigil. So, in these lines, the poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sound of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sounds of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. So, in this way, poet has told us about the behavior of a tiger in the zoo, and he also tells us that if this tiger would have been free, his activity would be different. So, let's see the literary devices in this stanza. Rhyme scheme, once again, rhyme scheme is same: A, V, C, V. Cars and stars, these are the last words of second and fourth line, so they are matching or rhyming. So rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Enjambment is the line 3 continues to line 4 without any punctuation mark. You can see in this stanza, and stares with his brilliant eyes, and the next line is started without any punctuation mark at the brilliant stars. So here is enjambment. Then alliteration is also used here. H sound is there in the starting of two words. He hears. So here is alliteration. Then assonance is there. Use of I sound in the words with his brilliant. I is prominent here, so assonance is there. Now that's all for today, but before that, you have to do this homework. According to your understanding of the poem, write the summary of the poem, answer the textual questions of the poem as per your understanding. So do this homework. Thank you. Have a nice day.